I guess on my hair, she look all right. And with that actually sitting there like this creams, and I had to have them, sis. All 5 of them. Here, I just had, we're gonna discontinue it, but I had to pick up their book of shadows, honey. Color grade makes cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Why so serious? What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Torrance here, and in today's video I wanted to switch things up a little bit. If you all are a returning subscriber to my channel, you already know I absolutely love eyeshadows. Funny enough, I'm not wearing any today, and that is because I wanted to bring to you all my full-fledged review on my Rephr brushes. I have 11 brushes here that I purchased from the concept store, and I believe all brushes are made in Japan. They all have that stamp here. You can take and purchase each and every brush that Rephr makes individually at full price, or you can go to their concept store where they'll give you a discount on each brush, but in return, you offer to give them your full and honest opinion on each and every brush. And so I've decided to do that today with these brushes here. Once again, I do have 11 brushes, so it isn't every brush that the brand makes, but I wanted to start off with the eye brushes before I spent that extra money on the face brushes. And before we get into things, I wanted to come a little bit closer, give you a close-up view of each and every brush, as well as tell you what the retail value of each brush is before we get into my opinion. First up, we have brush 01. It is a tapered blending brush. It consists of natural hair fibers and retails for $24 US. Next up is brush 02. This brush consists of natural fibers, and it is a flat shader brush. It also retails for $24 American. This little beauty is brush 03. It is a small pencil brush. It consists of natural hair fibers, and it retails for $24 US. Brush 12 is a very small rounded kabuki brush. It consists of natural hair fibers. It retails for $24 American, and this brush is truly one of a kind. Brush 13 is a small rounded blending brush. It is made up of natural hair fibers and retails for $24 American. Brush 14 is also a small rounded blending brush, but it comes to a more tapered point. It also consists of natural hair fibers and retails for $24 American. Brush 15 is a medium to large tapered blending brush. It retails for $24 American and consists of natural hair fibers, and is probably one of my absolute favorites out of the entire collection. Brush 26 is a very large pencil brush. It consists of natural hair fibers and retails for $24 American. Brush 27 is the largest and fluffiest of all the brushes we're going to talk about today. It consists of natural hair fibers and also retails for $24 American. Brush 28 is the only mixed haired fiber brush that we have. It consists of natural and synthetic fibers. This is a flat shader brush. As you can see, it's much more flat going this way than it is this way. And this brush here is a little more affordable than the others. This one only retails at $20 instead of $24. And last but certainly not least, we have the smallest brush of them all. This one is a natural hair push liner brush. It retails for $18, and although it is the smallest, trust me, it does not come in last place. Now that you've seen a close-up view of each brush, what I want to do is go through each individual brush, tell you what my opinion of them is, and also show you what brushes I have in my collection that I find are, I would say, comparable, not necessarily dupes, because with any brand, you know, you can find things that may be similar, such as hair type, softness, blendability, but with a lot of these brushes, I tried to find things that were around the same price point, and hopefully I tried to find things that were also available. So if you don't necessarily want to get these particular Rephr brushes, maybe you can get one of the alternatives that I have in my collection. Another thing I wanted to let you know about is 9 of the 11 brushes do retail for $24 individually. If for any reason you want a greater discount, like myself, you can purchase these brushes in a bundle instead of getting them individually. This here is the first bundle I have. Left to right, we have brushes 01, 02, and 03. These 3 brushes here come in a bundle which normally retails for $72, but if you get them in the concept store, you can get them for $39. This here is the second bundle of brushes that I have. Left to right, it contains brushes 12, 13, 14, and 15. And you can get this bundle in the concept store for $55 instead of paying full price at $96. The last bundle I purchased also contains 4 brushes. Left to right, this contains brushes 26, 27, 28, and 29. And at full retail price, this bundle will cost you $88, but in the concept store, you can get it for $52. Alright you guys, this here is the hard part. We're going to grab each and every individual Rephr brush. I'm going to tell you what the price is, what I think the pros and cons of each brush is, as well as what comparable brushes I have in my collection. And baby, I have a lot of brushes to go through, so let's go ahead and get into it. First up, we have Rephr brush 01. This here is a tapered blending brush, and to me, this is what I used to like to call the workhorse of brushes. And I call it that because it has a very comparable shape to the, the MAC 217 brush. And that's what I used to call this brush here, the workhorse. And I call it that because it has a taper shape to it. It's a blending brush. You can use this right here in the crease to diffuse those edges. You can also take it and use it sideways right here and diffuse the edges of your transition shade. And that's exactly what I absolutely love to use it for. I have hooded eyes, and anytime I feel as if I want to go in with a really dark or deep transition shade, say like a blue or a green, it may not always come off with the softest edges. A brush shaped just like this, the Rephr 01, is perfect for that. This brush retails for $24. Telling you, she's absolutely fabulous and I love her. If I had to say any brushes that were comparable to it, once again, the MAC 217 brush, same shape, natural hair. The thing is, this one here is mine and this is the natural hair one, and I believe MAC no longer makes them in the natural hair, they make them in synthetic. I've never tested out the synthetic one, so I wouldn't know, what it's like or anything, so I couldn't recommend that one. But if you have the natural hair MAC 217, she's just like it. Another comparable one, it's something that you can get right now, is the Goss number 18 brush. Same shape, softness, same ability. The only difference between the two is I personally find as if the Goss brush has a smaller and more lightweight handle, but it'll get the job done. This one here is the one you can purchase. It has the white bristles, but Goss used to also make a brush. It comes back and forth in the stock. His 06 brush, the original 06 with the brown hairs. Same shape and everything, absolutely beautiful. You can use them both for the same thing as the Rephr 01. It's just you're more than likely going to be able to find the Goss number 18 over the Goss 06. But both of these plus the MAC are comparable. Next up for $24 is the Rephr 02 brush. This brush here is a small shader brush, and that's exactly what I use it for. For putting on color right here on the lids. I personally have rather large lids, so I'm someone who really likes a larger brush. But anytime you're working with, let's say, very sparkly shadows or very dark pigmented shadows like a matte black, you're going to want something more small and more precise to give you more control and allow you to put more colors on your eyelid. But this brush is absolutely fabulous. I've come to find that it works with pressed and baked gelée formulas, which is something a lot of times these brushes don't do. Sometimes they're so soft that they may not pick up a lot of product, but this one here is extremely soft and it works with every formula I've tried it with. So this here is in my new arsenal. Rephr 02, if I had to say, Torrance, what comparable brushes do you have for it? Once again, a MAC brush that's been discontinued is the MAC 239. Same shape and everything. This one here has a longer handle, and because this one has been discontinued, I can't say necessarily you can go out in stores and get it, but they do still make a synthetic version. But if you have the natural hair version of this, I would recommend you pulling it out. If you wanted something that you can go out and purchase that is comparable, I would say go after the Sonia G Builder 3. This one here, another small flat shader brush. It's absolutely beautiful. It works just like the Rephr brush, except it has a longer handle. And to me, this one doesn't pick up quite as much product as the Rephr brush, so you may have to go in a few more times, but this is a full-time product. You can purchase this anytime on the website. My personal favorite shader brush, and it's just because I like something a little bit larger. Unfortunately, this one has been discontinued. It's the Sephora number 60 Must Have Powder Shadow Brush. Small tapered shader brush. Perfect for putting color right there, just packing it on. To me, this one is not nearly as soft as any of the other brushes I recommended, but because it's a little bit larger and it picks up a little more product, it helps me get the job done a little bit easier. So that's why I personally love this one. But I'm telling you, this Rephr number 2, absolutely amazing. I think from now on, any and every time I go in and do a matte black smoky eye, this may be the brush that I use to pack my colors on. Next up, we have the Rephr 03, and this one here is a tiny pencil brush. I absolutely love this for smoking out my lower lash line. Anytime I want to go in and, let's say, deepen things up on the lower lash line, but I don't want a very precise line like a precise liner brush, she's the one to go to. I only have one other natural pencil hair brush in my collection that can be comparable, and that is the Goss 05 brush. Although Goss started off with brushes that had the natural brown hair and then he switched over to the white hairs, when he switched over, he still kept this pencil brush, and I absolutely love, love, love it. The only thing I can say that I can bring down about this one is because the Rephr brush does have natural white bristles. If for any reason you go in with things that are pigments instead of eyeshadows like I do, you may get some staining. The tip of my natural white hair brush does have like a pink hue to it, but I'm someone who does not hold back. I love pigments, purples, greens, blues, reds, so a little staining for me is no issue. As long as I can clean the brush and use another color and it does not have a color transfer, which this one doesn't, I'm just fine. And even in between, before I even actually cleaned it like I did this morning for this video, between uses, I would just wipe it on the back of a microfiber cloth, go to the next shadow, and things will be just fine. So for me, staining is no issue. If you're someone who's against staining, you may not want to use pigments with these, or you may want to go with something a little bit darker like the Goss 05 brush. Next up in my collection was a brush that is one of a kind. The Rephr number 12 brush. Now when I first saw it, I realized it was a small kabuki brush, and I absolutely love kabuki brushes. So I wanted to figure out, Torrance, exactly what could you use this for? Because I'm here to let you know, I don't have any comparable brushes to this. Not that are natural hair. Synthetic, maybe. But because this is a natural hair brush, she's in a league all of her own. If I could tell someone what would I recommend using this for, if you're someone who likes powder or mineral foundations and concealers and you want something to go underneath the eye, she's going to be beautiful. If you're someone like me who likes a pigmented under eye brow highlight, but sometimes you may put a little bit too much color down, this is perfect for buffing out those edges and softening things up. I absolutely love her. If you're someone who wants to get a really quick eyeshadow going, you can potentially use this in the crease and deepen things up. But personally, I think you may want to go in with something a little bit larger for a transition first, and then maybe deepen this up, or use this to help soften up a harsh edge right there in the crease or the outer V. But the Rephr number 12 brush is a brush I truly have nothing like it. And because of that, I'm absolutely happy that I have it. Next up is Rephr number 13, and this one here is just a very small rounded blending brush. For me, because I have extremely large hooded eyes, this is something that I would personally use either really low in the crease to deepen up a color, or right here in the outer V, because there's nothing I can do with this brush right here in the front. If I think I'm going to get anything going in my transition area, it's just not large enough. It doesn't splay out far enough. But if I, let's say, have a brown smoky eye and I want to go in and deepen it up just the tiniest bit with a little bit of black, but I don't want that black to take over, I can go in with a small brush like this, get it going in there, then go back in with a larger brush, soften it up, and you may never know that color was there. Me personally, I like brushes like this, but I tend to keep brushes like this as a backup because I have hooded eyes. So I like my brushes to have more of a taper point to it. The more of a point it comes to, the deeper into the crease I feel as if I can get, and the softer my blend is going to be. So I really do like this brush, but Rephr makes a brush just like this that has a more taper point to it. And so I personally prefer that one. But if I had to say what brush is comparable to this one in my collection, I'm going to go with the Goss number 20 brush. You see, they're about the same size. They're not completely flat across the top. They have just the slightest roundness to them, and I can use them interchangeably. They basically come right there about the same size. If you look, one's not longer than the other. I would personally say the Rephr may feel a little heavier in the hand, but other than that, you can use them interchangeably. So if for any reason you don't have the Rephr 13, you can always use the Goss number 20. Next up, just like the Rephr number 13, is the Rephr 14. Now this is the one I prefer. It's shaped just like the 13, and actually let me grab it for you. This one here is 13, this one's 14. Number 14 comes to a slighter, more pinched tip to it. I like my brushes to come to a point so that when I go right into the crease, I feel as if I get a softer blend. And to me, 14 comes to a better point than number 13, and that's why I prefer this brush. This is the brush, like I said, if you go in, you want to just deepen up your crease with the smallest amount of product or the deepest of colors that you don't want to risk blending out too far. I'm someone, I know most people don't think a matte black deserves to be in every palette. I personally do, because I will deepen up any look with a black and not think twice. And this is perfect for putting just a little bit in there, going back in with your larger brush, buffing that out. And if for any reason, let's say I did not have this Rephr number 14 brush with me, my two alternatives would be either my Goss number 19 brush here. If you look at them, they're about the same size. To me, the Rephr comes to a slightly more pinch point, which is why I generally prefer it over the Goss one. They do the same thing, but knowing that I can get results faster with my number 14 brush, I prefer that over the Goss number 19 brush. Another brush that doesn't come to quite the same tip is the MAC 221 Natural Hair Brush. Although the bristles are about the same, the MAC brush is a little bit longer and it's not quite as pinched at the tip, but it does the exact same job. And to me, the MAC brush isn't quite as soft as the Goss or the Rephr, but anytime I want to deepen up my outer V or the extreme lowest part of my crease, this is the brush I would go for. All right, this brush here, honey, this was probably the one that shocked me the most. This is the number 15 brush. When I tell you, just looking at her, it's like she a rounded blending brush. She a rounded, tapered, fluffy blending brush, honey. What about her? Almost every brand in the world make a brush somewhat like this. Like, I have so many of them right here with me that I'm like, you know what? We don't even have time to list them. All I'm going to tell you is, if you need something to go into your crease, if you have a normal hood on your eye, this is perfect for transitions. If you have hooded eyes, this is perfect for the crease. And because I have hooded eyes, that's exactly what I use it for. If for any reason I didn't have this particular brush, my brush of choice would be either the Goss number 17 brush, because he's not quite as fluffy and as dense as the Rephr brush, and that's why I used to use the Goss, but now that I have this number 15, I got to have it. More bristles, more blending, faster blending. It's absolutely beautiful. But if my Rephr 15 is dirty, I don't mind my Goss number 17. Another one that's close to the Goss 17 that's been discontinued is the Goss 04 brush with the brown hair. It's around the same size, same shape. To me, the 04 brush had a slightly longer handle and it was a little bit denser, but I feel as if the Goss number 17 came to a sharper point, so it gave you more precision, but neither one of them are competing with this Rephr 15. This one is way better than these two, and even though I have several of these, I have backups, I have ones that I use on a regular, I know for sure I'm going back to get me another Rephr 15. I have not had any brush in my life that blended out my crease quite as fast as this brush. That's all I'm going to say. Next up, Rephr 26. This here is easily, I don't have to ask myself in depth, I know for sure, this is the largest pencil brush I have for my lower lash line. I truly do believe that I have one, and I'm going to go double check because I know my Tom Ford brush is real close to that. And actually, give me 1 second. Let me go double check. I had to double check just to see for myself. And yes, this Rephr brush is a little bit larger than the Tom Ford 14 brush. With Tom Ford, unfortunately, they did switch their bristles from natural hair to synthetic, and it's still the same price. So if you did not pick up on the Tom Ford brushes, I can't tell you what the synthetic ones are like, but the natural hair ones, superb. The thing is, this Rephr 26 is available, it's larger, and it buffs the color out a little bit further. And because I'm someone who has very large eyes, going in with this first, I call it my new transition brush for the lower lash line. It is just so big, so fluffy. I know for sure any and every other pencil brush in my collection can go in behind it, deepen it up a little bit more, and then I know I can go in even further with a push liner brush and deepen up my lower lash line even more. So this here has easily become my new favorite pencil brush simply because it's the largest and softest one of them all. Another comparable brush to this besides the Tom Ford number 14 would be the Discontinued Mac 219 brush. Before the Tom Ford in this was my largest pencil brush, and I always used this to go in, buff things out, and then I could go back in with the smaller Goss number 5 brush or my Rephr 3 brush for a smaller one. But as far as large pencil brushes, Rephr got the cake now. Rephr then came in, gave me something I didn't know I needed, and now I'm happy that I have it, and I can never be without it. Next up is the largest brush of them all, the Rephr number 27. As someone who has hooded eyes, I've always had issues with finding crease brushes that were really big to make sure that my transition shade sticks out. This one here does not disappoint. When I tell you, looking across at all the brushes, I knew for sure crease brushes is what I was looking for. I'm always looking to increase my crease brush game. So when I got this one, I instantly pulled it out and compared it to my original Goss number 3 brush, which has been discontinued, and the one that you can currently get, the Goss number 16 brushes. I always use these brushes to buff things out and give me a seamless transition, because to me, if your transition color is bad, your whole eye look is going to be bad. I have to have soft, beautiful, diffused edges, and these were always the ones I used. Each time, every time. Up until I came to this brush, because if you look at it, to me, this brush comes to a slightly more point, but because this flares out a little bit more, it helps blend that color out and give me a slight more seamless blend, and that's why I love it. The thing is, with some of these brushes, I could easily go in and say, oh yeah, the Rephr brush is killing the game, but I'm not gonna lie. With this one, I can use any one of these three, and it's like, although I know they're not twins, I can call them twins because they're all beautiful, they're all gonna get the job done. It's just that I really did not expect this Rephr brush to be as good as this Goss brush, and it really is. So for me, I've been using the Rephr brush a little bit more simply because it's been sitting right here on my shelf, but the only thing I think I would want to change about it is I would personally bring it to a bit more of a pinch tip. I think if this one had a stronger tip to it, it would probably be better than the Wayne Goss brushes, but because it doesn't, it's sitting right there neck and neck with these two. Next up is a brush that, honey, as soon as I seen it, all I kept saying in my head is, you got your work cut out for you because you coming up against the queen. This is brush number 28. This is a small, very flat, thin shader brush, and many people like to use brushes like this for going across the brow bone, across the lid and things like that. For me, I use this brush for one or two things. Highlighting my inner eye corner, highlighting my brow bone. I usually don't use brushes this thin for across the lid. And the reason I said you got your work cut out for you is because I have a brush here, the MAC 242. This is my all-time favorite small shader brush. I know that Sephora brush that I have here is a big fat one, and I use this for actually packing color on the lids, but this is way too big and way too dense for the inner eye corner. Nothing highlights my inner eye corner like this MAC 242. And although this Rephr number 28 brush is nice and it truly does get the job done, I think because it's not quite as thin as the MAC brush, as you can see there, I feel as if it picks up a little bit more product and it doesn't put down the softest, slightest, thinnest veil like the MAC would do. So in my personal opinion, this MAC 242 brush is still reigning supreme. She's still queen of all the brow bone highlights and inner eye corner brushes. But this Rephr brush may be the second best one that I've ever found. I've come across other brands, they come close, but to me, the bristles are always either too thin or way too fat, and this is nice. She's just not quite as long and not quite as thin as the MAC brush. And last but certainly not least, we have the number 29 brush from Rephr. This is a very small, very detailed push liner brush. And what I love this for is after going in with two different pencil brushes to give me more depth and dimension, I like to go right up close to that lash line and push that color right there. I'm telling you, if you are someone who is afraid of using pencil eyeliner on the actual waterline, a push liner brush underneath the lashes can give you the very same effect. You just have to go in multiple times usually because this is such a small brush. If you were to go in with something like a black, chances are it's not going to start all the way over here and be just as pigmented as it would way over here. But the precision and the detail you're going to get from a brush like this, absolutely beautiful. The only brush that I have comparable to this brush is the Wayne Goss 08 brush. And as you can see right there, side by side, you can barely even see the tip of those brushes right there on camera. I'm telling you, just the tiniest, even when you turn them sideways. Pencil, thin, small, they're interchangeable. You can use one, you can use the other. It doesn't really matter. For me personally, I don't care. I personally like that I got the number 29 from Rephr because he came in a bundle, so he was a lot cheaper than the Wayne Goss. And when I sit back and I think about that, the fact that this one is just the tiniest bit longer and more affordable, if I were to lose them both, which one am I going to buy again? The Rephr brush, honey, because these are more affordable. So I'm sitting back looking like, okay, Torrance, now that you have showed everybody what brushes you like, what you like about the brushes, why don't you go ahead and give them a ranking from worst to best? So give me 1 second. I'm going to put all these other brushes back, and when I come back, we're going to rank these brushes from 11 to number 1. I wanted to go ahead before we leave and rank each brush from 11th place up to 1st place just to show you which ones are my absolute favorites. And although it was a little difficult to do it, I want you all to remember, these are just my opinions for my personal use. If you use certain brushes a little bit more, you may rank these a little bit higher. But coming in at 11th place, simply because it's a brush that I will probably use the least, would be number 13. This brush is a blending brush, but because it doesn't come to like a very strong point and it isn't a large fluffy brush that I can use more often, that's the reason I'm going to put this in last place. So number 13, Sorry, you in 11th place. In 10th place, just because I really do use this brush, but I have alternatives and it doesn't make the biggest impact, I'm gonna go ahead and say brush number 29, the push liner brush. She's soft, she's beautiful, she will get the job done, but because I usually use this after a pencil brush, it's only used for adding dimension and not for the main color, so we're gonna put number 29 in 10th place. Coming in 9th place, a beautiful brush, one that I'm gonna be using all the time, the number 3 brush. This is the small pencil brush, and I absolutely love it for creating dimension on the lower lash line. She's really soft, and the reason this brush ranks so low is simply because I have other alternatives for it. I have another pencil brush by this brand that ranks a little bit higher, as well as other brushes I can use in place of it, so even though it's fabulous, it's not ranking as high as it possibly could. Coming in at 8th place, brush number 28. This is the very small thin shader brush, the one you can use for your inner corner as well as your brows, or at least that's the way I use it. If you feel as if you want to use it for your lids, you may rank this brush a little bit higher, but because I need something a little bit more dense and a little bit larger, that's why it's only ranking at number 8. But this is a fabulous brush, and for inner eye corner highlight, like I said, it's my second favorite, but the MAC one just has a little bit over it. So number 28 comes in 8th place. Coming in 7th place, brush number 2, honey. Absolutely fabulous. This brush really shocked me because I really thought I was only going to be using it for shimmer shades across the lids. When it started picking up all different types of formulas, I knew I had a winner on my hands. I honestly use this a little bit more than my Sonia G and my MAC brushes. So Rephr, your number 2 brush, we need more brushes like this. I really wish you all could come out with something a little bit larger than this. That way it could rank a little bit higher for my large eyes. But if you all don't have this brush, you may want to go ahead and add it to your arsenal. Coming in at number 6, the one of a kind, brush number 12. I don't have anything else in my collection like brush number 12, and that is why this brush is ranking so high. It's not something that I would use, on an everyday basis, but anytime I make a mistake, she's the brush I call on. I honestly cannot wait until I do my Bare Minerals video, because once I start going in with loose powders and things, I think this brush is going to be absolutely fabulous underneath the eyes, but using it on top of the eye to buff out errors, absolutely love her. So I truly recommend getting number 12 out of all of these brushes, simply because it's something I have nothing like it. And now that I do have it, I really think I'm about to start being on the hunt to see what other company makes something similar to this, because you can't be one of a kind in my collection. I got to have something else like you just to be able to compare, just to be able to grow, just to learn. And so brush number 12, you're really something special here. In 5th place, our large pencil brush, number 26. Absolutely fabulous. My largest pencil brush to date, and anytime I want to smoke out my lower lash line, she has been the new brush I call upon. I used to love my MAC brushes, used to love my Wayne Goss, but now knowing I can start off with this and easily go in with 2 or 3 other smaller brushes to give me more depth and dimension, can't be without her. Brush number 26, out of all of their pencil brushes, this one is truly my favorite. Coming in 4th place, we had to put a crease brush. As someone with hooded eyes, I need my crease brushes. And brush number 14, absolutely fabulous. My favorite brush for deepening up my crease, honey. Anytime I want to go in with a little bit of black, just to make sure I add a little bit of drama, but don't let it take over, brush number 14, she's the one to get. She's firm enough to hold her shape, but soft enough to not scratch the eyes. She comes to a tip, so for those of us with hooded eyes, she is the one to go for. I'm telling you, just the idea of using it makes me happy, and she's become my new favorite brush for the deepening up the crease. We got to have her at number 4. Coming in 3rd place, going for the bronze medal, we have a brush I absolutely love. I almost put it in 2nd place, but something told me, hold on, think about it. And so we have brush number 27. She's large, she's soft, she's dense, she gets the job done. And ever since I first picked her up, she's been my transition brush of choice. I love the fact that she goes in, boom, 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 buff her out. She doesn't scratch my lids. She doesn't lose any bristles. And even better, she did not stain. Although she could have, and she still would have held her place, I'm happy she didn't. But right here, brush number 27, I got to get another backup of her because I have several other large fluffy blending brushes, but they don't seem to quite get the job done like this one. So, baby, you deserve your bronze medal. Honey, you might not be the champion, but we're going to call you a champion. You deserve your medal. Go home, celebrate with your family. 3rd place, number 27. Coming up, getting a silver medal, 2nd place. Honey, it almost did not get it, honey. I was sitting back, going back and forth like, Torrance, do you put her in 1st place? We left her at 2nd place because we had to remind ourselves, we don't always use this brush. This brush comes in anytime that 3rd place brush doesn't diffuse my edges quite as much as I want. I call on brush number 1. She's the workhorse. She's the brush that if you have normal eyes, eyes without a hood, you can use her in the crease. You honestly can use her too if you have hooded eyes. But my favorite way to use this is to diffuse the edges of my transition shades, and she's absolutely fabulous for that. I see why they came in and made this brush number 1 because I believe any and all brands should have a brush shaped just like this. But because I don't use her quite as often as I use my brush that came in 1st place, I'm giving you silver medal, brush number 1. You're coming in 2nd place. You're still a champion in my eyes. Never, 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 Rephr, never, ever, never get rid of this brush. She's fabulous. Now, y'all have seen the bottom 10. If you already kept track and kept count, you know what brush is coming in. Gold medalist, you know what, platinum medalist in my opinion, because I did not expect to love this brush this much. I know what makeup brushes can do. I know what they're supposed to do for you. But brush 15, 1st place, no doubt about it. I could not believe it. Every single time I pick up this simple looking brush, I am amazed at how beautiful my crease looks. This brush packs on the color, it blends out the color, it builds up the color, unlike any other brush. And out of all of them, out of all 11 brushes that I have, she is easily my favorite. I promise you, I'm going to be buying several more of these. This is the brush where even at the full $24 price tag, I'm willing to bag. You don't have to give me the concept store. I don't need no discount. I would buy one of these brushes individually and pay shipping for it as one simple order. That's how much I love this brush, and that's why this brush here, brush number 15, my absolute favorite. It does not, as far as I'm concerned right now, get any better than brush number 15 from Rephr. And that's the end of everything today. I hope you all truly did enjoy this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you also check out my description bar below. I'll make sure I leave a link down there where you can check out Rephr brushes. When I first saw these brushes, I thought they were overhyped. I kept telling myself everybody who's reviewing them got them sent for PR or got them at a discount, so of course they like them. But I'm here to let you know, as somebody who paid for them out of my pockets, as someone who exists in the world, but Rephr don't know nothing about me. They don't know nothing about my channel. They don't know nothing about my purchase unless they truly looking in their records. I pay for these with my hard-earned coin, and I'm bringing y'all the truth. The brushes are phenomenal. They are phenomenal, and they were so beautiful that today I wanted to make sure I did not wear an eye look because I wanted to make sure when I showed y'all these brushes, y'all got a close-up view of just how beautiful these brushes are. And just to make sure you all can see these brushes in action, I'll make sure I leave a couple videos linked right here where you can go in and see me using these brushes. Over the past few weeks, I've been using them, and I made sure, if nothing else, I used them with Juvia's Place. Because I knew Juvia's Place makes pigmented shadows for people of color, And I wasn't about to go in with no little soft, rosy neutral. No, bring the greens, bring the purples, bring the blacks, bring the greens. I need to see how you work, and I'm telling you, these brushes are phenomenal. It's not the first time you've seen them on my channel. It's not the last time you're going to see them. And I was going to add, like, do y'all want to see some face brushes in the future? You don't even have to worry about it. I will be purchasing those face brushes. I will be doing a tutorial and bringing a review on those. So just sit back and wait on them. But if you all really enjoy these, please, please, please leave me a comment down below letting me know which brushes you like. If you plan on getting some, let me know. Make sure you check out the concept store where you can get them on a discount. But with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye YouTube.